Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your man, Mr. Tim Swain. I am so excited. Do you know that I have Ghana's youngest female pilot on this interview today? Hey, Audrey.
Hi,
It's been
Tim.
a very long time since we've connected, but I'm so excited that you took some time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. So, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Tim.
So, for the people that don't know you,
Yeah.
and that's very few people because most people know you by now, tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe like why, you hold this prestigious title and maybe where you did some of your training.
My name is Audrey Swatson, born and bred in Ghana. I had all of my basic education and secondary education in Ghana, and thereafter I did my training in South Africa because Ghana didn't have a place for me to train as a pilot. I've always wanted to be a pilot, and I was so sure as at age 9, but I also wanted to be an athlete because I didn't have to prep to, excel in the tracks. And then later on, I changed my mind to sticking with a pilot, and then here I am.
Wow. So originally you started out wanting to be an athlete, a track star.
Yeah, because like growing up, we used to watch the Olympics, and Ghana wasn't bringing the gold medal. So I wanted to be the one to represent Ghana and bring the gold medal because it was again my talent. So yeah, but later on I just changed my mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when did you know that you wanted to be a pilot?
I was age 9, I remember it clearly, and I was in class 4 because where I grew up, the environment in which I grew up, it was very common to find elderly people asking children, oh, what do you want to be in future, to keep conversations going. And yeah, through that time, it made me think of what I wanted to be, not because I'd seen a pilot or an athlete in my family or in my environment. Yeah.
So I mean, that's, for me, I'm honestly, I think you are the first female pilot. Actually, you're the only pilot I've ever had a conversation with.
No.
Because flying for most people,
Yeah.
they don't have any exchange with the pilot unless you're some famous person who charters private planes. But for the everyday person, maybe you pass by the cockpit. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure you'll correct me on all the improper terms that I get. But you pass by the cockpit, then you go to your seat. So what was it about flying in particular that really captivated your interest?
I would say I'd wanted to be different. And growing up, I had my parents say, oh, to become a doctor, it takes ages. And I wasn't the child who would want to spend a lot of years in school. And it wasn't also my passion. I just thought of being a pilot and just finding something uncommon amongst my peers to do. And then, yeah, that's what I did.
Okay, so walk us through the process. You decide that you want to become a pilot and you're going through your education process. What type of education does it take to reach the level where you become a pilot?
I wouldn't say it takes a particular kind of education to become a pilot because to become a pilot, the qualifications are to be 16 years and older.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
In Africa, they don't tell us because everybody has this idea that a pilot should be a man,
Yes.
a white person,
Yes.
maybe very tall, and all the reverse of that.
Wow.
Yeah, so you don't have to exactly be a science student. You can study anything at all until maybe you are 16 years, and then you go into flight training. So flight training have to be 16 years. You have to pass an aviation medical test. They check your eyes, your skin, your blood, your urine, just how fit you are. Because to get a driver's license, they even check your eyes. So same processes, or maybe a bit tougher for flying. and then you have to have the funds for training because unfortunately it's quite expensive. So yeah, maybe you could be 16 years and older and then be fit, but then if the finances are not exactly there, then it doesn't complete the requirements to go through training.
Yeah, you have to get the money.
Oh yeah.
So where did you actually train?
I train in South Africa, Johannesburg, Mark 1 Aviation Academy.
Wow. Now how long is that process for you, or was that process for you?
I started flight training in 2015 August and completed 2018 December. And it was right after flight. It was right after senior high school. You know how we write WASI examinations? Because writing WASI, I knew that was the next stage. So I didn't have to wait for any results to, go and start. And yeah, after that I started. And it took me 3 years. But flight training is like driving a car. The quicker you get it, that's it. The more available your funds are, that's it. If your health is good, that's it. People combine it with working hours. Maybe they work in their home country, come to South Africa to learn, And some of us is like the full time, that's all we do. But it's not rigid that maybe we have 3 semesters. If you go back home or you go do something different, you miss out. It's one-on-one teaching and learning thing. So if I'm not around and I have to come home, it's allowed, but when I get back to school, we go back a bit to revise and then we continue from there. So it's in your own time, your own pace. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds so amazing. So talk to us a little bit about when you committed to become a pilot and you're going to do your training in South Africa. What were some of the responses from maybe family or friends? How did they respond?
Well, from friends, they were excited, and because those who grew up with me from basic school knew that that was what I wanted to be. And with my family, they were much more proud because they thought I was going to change my mind. Because at home, if I want to do something and it doesn't come to me quickly, I could just say that's it. Because maybe I don't want it that much. But with this, I stayed to it. So they started saving us like from age 9. And was later I found out after my training that my parents had mentioned that if I change my mind, then they'll keep their money because maybe another course was going to be cheaper. But then they were also getting ready. So if that's what I wanted, it will meet up in the plan. So I became the pilot.
And what age were you when you became, is it a licensed pilot or what's the actual terminology?
Yeah, to become a pilot, we have, it depends on the kind of pilot you want to be.
Okay.
We have the student pilot license. The person is still a pilot, but in training. And then after, we have the private pilot license. Let's say, Tim, you buy your own aircraft, then you fly yourself and your family.
One day, it's coming. It's coming.
It's coming,
Hey.
right?
It's coming. Okay, sorry.
So you buy your own aircraft and maybe fly around, maybe your car, Kumasi, probably go lunch or meet up with somebody. And yeah, that's what the license is for. You don't get paid for it. You get to operate your own aircraft or your friend's aircraft.
Okay.
Yeah. And then to become the airline pilot or a commercial pilot, then you study further to get the commercial pilot license. That's also like another kind of pilot. So that's where you work for airlines or whoever, but still get paid. So even if it's for somebody's aircraft, the license gives you the privilege to get paid for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you are a licensed commercial pilot.
Right.
Wow. And so at what age did you accomplish this great
that was 21 December
21.
Yeah, 2018, and I remember testing on the 24th of December. So like this 24th coming is gonna be my 2 years in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were 21. So you were 21 years old.
Yeah.
Wow. And you became a pilot.
Yeah.
Hey, at 21 I could barely read. That's a long.
No way.
No, I'm just kidding. I can read, but it's like, hey, at 21 I wasn't thinking of doing it. At 21 I was like doing nothing with my life. So I think it's incredible to mention that because you work with so many different youth. I've seen you. She's very active on Instagram. So we're going to make sure to put her handles in the video because you have to follow her. She's ridiculously active, and you'll get an inside look at what it takes to be a pilot. So I've seen from your Instagram, you're doing all of these great things: women empowerment, youth empowerment. Talk to us a little bit about some of the things that you've done and the responses maybe that you get from people when you go and you speak at these different places.
When I go speak to different kinds of people, women, young girls, and young boys as well, it's like a lot of myths are cleared. Example is what to study before you become a pilot. You could study visual arts and still become a pilot, like anything at all. And the myth in Ghana where you have to be a science student before you become a pilot, it's like people get to see the lights and their hopes are increased, that, they can also do that. You don't have to be a science student or like very, very intelligent. You just need average performance, someone who is progressive. And speaking and interacting with them, it's like a different kind of career has come through their path because people are notion to be in a particular place that maybe you have to become a doctor or like whatever, the traditional careers. So when I meet up with them, inspiration. Also sometimes it's rather me getting inspired because sometimes I feel like, around my environment, it's like I just usually hang out with colleagues who are also pilots, so I find it like, it's okay. But when I go out there to talk to people and explain how it's done and this, it comes off as like, wow, but around my friends, it's like it's really nothing. Yeah.
So I'm glad you mentioned that because for most of the people watching, some people have never been in an aircraft or airplane.
Oh, okay.
And let alone they don't know anything about flying. So now I'm just going to ask a couple questions, probably some of the questions that we're thinking as non-pilots when we step into an airplane. And so these were some of the questions that people asked, and I'm just going to ask you now.
Right.
So one of the things is I hear that when you are flying, there's a such thing as autopilot. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, autopilot.
So what is that? How does that work in an airplane?
From the name, automation, pilot. Automation replacing the pilot. But automation does not entirely remove the pilot from his or her role. In that, I have to tell the aircraft what to do on its own. So without my inputs, it's not able to respond to it, if you get it.
Yeah, it's like a man. A man doesn't do anything unless a woman tells him to do it. I'm married, so that's how it works. I'm telling you, I've been married 8 years. So that's how it works. So my wife has me on autopilot.
Oh yeah.
She tells me what to do, but anyway, sorry.
No, it's okay.
So that's autopilot. So it's not like you can just go to sleep and just let the aircraft fly itself.
No, usually the bigger the aircraft, you know how we would have to increase the number of crew on board. So we play roles when we fly. Someone is flying the aircraft or telling the aircraft what to do, so the autopilot will pick it up and then move in whichever direction. And someone is also on the seat, there are two seats. Then the other person is also monitoring if things are okay, engines are working, maybe like we are at the right altitude. Like the person is also communicating to ATC on the ground with the instructions, if you get it. Yeah, so there's autopilot and we rely on it heavily.
And so what are like the average flight times that you'll have? Like, is there a max that you can fly? And if so, what is that? And then in comparison to, what are the average flight times that you have?
By law, a set of crew could do 10 hours, maximum 10 hours in a day. So where the flight is more than 10 hours, that's when you would have different crew. So after 10 hours, those two are not the same people operating to the destination. So they're going to swap on board. And the bigger the aircraft, they have places where they're going to sleep, and then the next crew comes up. So yeah.
That's interesting.
Oh yeah.
No, you're used to this because this is your
Okay.
job. But for people like myself, because when you said 10 hours, I thought, okay, my flight from the U.S. to Ghana is like, I think 11 hours and 5 minutes.
Okay.
And so when you said that, I was thinking if the law only permits 10 hours, but you just answered the question because you said maybe there's other pilots that just kind of rotate out.
But how many pilots do you remember seeing?
Hey, by this time, it was so long ago, I don't remember. It was a big aircraft. I mean, it was South African Airways.
Oh.
And hey, the thing was big. That's all I know. It was like 2, 4, 2, and it was a lot of people. That's all I know. So it's pretty huge. So I don't know actually how many pilots were there.
Oh, okay. But, yeah.
And what's the average size of the planes that you fly? How many people, how many passengers actually fit in those planes?
I fly with Passion Air, and we fly the Dash 8 Q400 series. It takes 78. So it's a 78 seater aircraft. Yeah.
Wow. And so let me ask you another question that people have asked me about this whole flying. They say that like every airplane has the black box.
Right.
And so that if something ever happens that's unfortunate, the data from that aircraft will be in that black box. So what is actually in the black box, and what does it do if an unfortunate event happens?
Well, I'll start off by saying the black box is actually orange in color.
Hey, really?
Yeah.
Then why do they call it a black box?
I also don't know.
Maybe it's a US thing. I've never flown anything, so
It's an aviation thing. It's like
they
black
call it the
box.
black.
But yeah, people have explanation to it that black, as in it reviews whatever happened. Because as pilots, we talk to ourselves and to each other. So as I talk, it's recording it. So let's say I want to move to the left. I say maybe turning to the left, maybe heading this. So the black box has recorded it. It's such a way that when you listen to it, you know what is happening in the aircraft. So then aircraft investigators will pick it up, and then they are good scientists who are able to tell what happened, what went wrong. So if you change something in the aircraft and you don't speak up, maybe they'll mess it up. They'll miss that part and later catch it up. But otherwise, it's the investigation tool, right?
Wow. Okay. So now we'll transition to maybe some more lighter questions. Some questions that maybe a child would ask.
Okay.
Since I have a child,
Oh.
then one of the questions would be, do you ever have situations where like animals, like birds, like how do you avoid situations like birds and stuff flying into the engine or
Right?
those kind of things?
Yeah, birds, we are going into their habitats. And we also train in case one or many more gets into our engines. Well, as pilots, we concentrate more on emergency procedures. Because when things are normal, no one will fault us. But when things go off, we concentrate really on that. And in times when things go bad, we just hope that our training is sufficient to, save everybody on board.
Okay.
So when a bird enters our aircraft, it may cause the engine to fail or engine fire. And when there's any of that, we try to, fly the aircraft back to land. If the engine fails and the bird is still in there, we still want to land the aircraft ASAP, because then the feathers will start catching fire in there anytime soon. So you want to get the aircraft down. Yeah.
Wow.
And the birds are not really high. Maybe it happens usually when you landing or you just took off. Maybe these kind of flocks of birds will be around. So around the airports, we don't keep dustbins or grow the grasses high, because those birds are attracted to it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this stuff is so interesting. I guarantee you the comments on this video, because people have never heard this, and it's interesting. So okay, I've watched movies where the back of the airplane flies off. I'm pretty sure you've seen those movies, right? If people are hanging on by a chair. Here's a question: if you're flying at that altitude and a window burst, or the back of the airplane flies off, would it even be possible with human strength to hold on flying that altitude to a chair or something, without just being sucked out of the airplane? Is that even possible? I'm sure it's just movies, right? That's
just
a movie.
editing it, but otherwise, No, they're just editing it because imagine how the aircraft is sealed. So
Yes.
like the air that enters is just for air conditioning after it goes through some process. But thereafter, it's like a balloon. You don't want more air to come into it. We're going to burst and then we get off. So no, it's just editing. No.
You know, that's what we see in the movies. It's like I just watched some movie where like I think it's with Idris Elba or something.
Oh, okay.
And like the plane was crashing and half of the plane broke off on the
Whoa.
mountain and he's just holding on while the back of the airplane is out. And I said, well, that's not real. I'm sure
It's not real. No.
I mean, I know it's not real, but I'm just saying this for the people. I know it's not
Okay.
real. I know
Oh,
it's
no,
not
it's
real,
not
but
real.
I'm just asking for the people.
Not at all.
What is the absolute best thing about being a pilot?
Well, to me, I would say is getting to fly in my country because I get people, especially young girls, to see that I look like them and I'm able to do it. And I just hope that it inspires them. Yeah.
What are some of the challenges?
Challenges, there are a lot, and every day is also different. Challenges start from deciding that you are going to do it. It started from I don't have it in my country, so now I have to fly to this country to do it. Challenges continue that South Africa has high crime rates, and then I was a minor, so it's like now family would have to now move along with you. We start training, examinations also were challenged at a point. And then learning to land the aircraft. Oh my God, the day I got it. Because there were times I'll understand the principle of learning to land the aircraft. And just when my flight instructor thought I'd gotten it, then I lose it again because maybe there was bad weather and I didn't get to fly and practice consistently. It's like, it felt like picking a wet watermelon seed that time. And I thought I wouldn't go past it. It used to make me cry whilst flying because I'm thinking, maybe it's true. Those who said females cannot fly, maybe they were right. Maybe I'll just go home. But then when I get to my room and I probably call my parents back home, like they're like, you can do it. And when they ask, what else do you want to do? I didn't have answers. So every day I kept going back and it became better. Yeah. And thereafter challenges. The challenges in flight school are so much different from what is in like the workplace. And they didn't train us for that, but you go through it if you get it. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Oh yeah.
So just maybe like one or two more questions. As previously mentioned, you do a lot of work with different organizations, empower a lot of people. Now, what about you personally? Do you have any organizations that you've developed that you're also trying to empower people through?
Oh yeah, and it's Excel Aviation Limited. It's non-profitable organization, and we're a group of pilots I've put together. So if I'm not available and any of them is available, like they could go speak to them to inspire or encourage them. And through that, we started clubs in various senior high schools and basic school. I started one in my basic school. And yeah, every Fridays they get to meet, and I managed to put up a curriculum that maybe today we study meteorology, where we talk about the weather, and then another time why planes fly, how it flies, the principles and the science behind it. And then yeah, that's what it's about. And we get to have excursion. We just done 2 at the airport. And then last year we went to the Women in Aviation International Conference at Reno, United States, and that was about it.
You're in Reno, Nevada.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's great. So there may be some folks watching who are thinking, I want to do something, but I've never seen anyone do it in my country, or maybe because I'm a youth or a woman or whatever. What would be your message for that person who wants to do something maybe they've never seen anyone do? What is that message?
I would say you are not alone, because what you also want to do, the same situation, other people are also in it. I would encourage you to, just go for it, because personally, I've never been exactly ready to do something, but I got ready in the process. I didn't have the big picture or like the step by step sometimes, but I will just go through it, and as and when I learn from it. I would say they should probably find a mentor, someone who can give like unbiased opinions, because I've experienced a very biased mentor and it didn't exactly help me sometime. Maybe it did, because now I know a biased mentor from like an unbiased one. And yeah, they should work hard at it, because if you want something and don't work for it, it won't come to you. But how the universe works, if you want it, it will put people in your place and opportunities so that like you get it done. Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to be with us today.
Thank you, Tim.
It's very inspiring. It's very encouraging.
Thank you.
You know, I feel like you just preached an inspirational sermon. We should take tithing for you right now and give it to you. You know, so thank you so much. We certainly appreciate it. And yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, we're done.